Welcome to episode 56 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sense, and joining me for today's episode is Paul Schommer, biathlete, member of the US Biathlon Team, and veteran of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
2026 Olympic Games are only 210 days away as of today, the day we're taping. And are you more nervous or excited about the upcoming games?
I don't know if I would say either nervous or excited at the moment. I think that those sorts of emotions and feelings kind of hit more closer to the date. Right now, it's just more trying to stay focused on the training. But if anything, I would say more excited just at the opportunity to potentially be there to experience everything that the Olympic Games are and have an opportunity to just represent the U.S. well.
Now, listeners might not know of your ties to Calumet County, Paul, and Appleton. Could you maybe just walk listeners through your story to date and your past and current connection to the area?
Yeah, so I was born in Appleton, Wisconsin, and grew up there. For those more familiar with the area, I grew up in the Darboy area and went to Kimberly High School. I graduated from there in 2010, and more specifically in like the Calumet area. My dad grew up in the Stockbridge area, and so my grandparents lived in Stockbridge, had a farm there, and so spent my childhood going out to my grandparents' house there. And now it's been really cool to be able to come back and to head to the Ariens Nordic Center in Brillion. The Ariens is a team supporter of ours, and so to be able to come back and actually train for biathlon at a world-class facility has been really great. Not only for me to be able to come back and share that with the people of the area, but hopefully I hope to see some more athletes in the future coming out from the Northeast Wisconsin area as they have that opportunity to now train and really be introduced to biathlon in a high quality way.
You know, taking the world stage and competing in the Olympic Games is really a Herculean task. What led you to do it, to compete and to represent the U.S. on the world stage, Paul?
There's so many things that ultimately led me to qualifying for the Olympics. I don't even know if it was quite a decision where I woke up one day and said, you know what, I really want to go to the Olympics. I think it just kind of developed over time. So growing up in Northeast Wisconsin, there was not really this clear path or really even a clear way of me seeing any sort of opportunity to be able to do cross-country skiing, much less at the Olympic level. So when I first got introduced to cross-country skiing, I was just simply skiing on the football fields behind our high school with some donated skis from some other athletes in the area, or I should say even athletes. In our sport, we like to call them master blasters. Masters is like the highest level, the oldest age category in the sport of skiing. And so sometimes they have that nickname master blaster. And so there's some master blasters in the area, donated skis. And that's kind of how I got introduced to the sport. So when I first was skiing, I was simply just trying to focus on staying upright and getting to the finish. Didn't really have any thoughts or ambitions of going and racing until probably the end of high school. And that's when I was like, man, I really want to go ski at the college level. And then it was at St. Scholastica in Duluth, Minnesota, where my coach, Chad Salmela, he kind of saw some of my talents and knew the opportunities in biathlon because he himself was a World Cup biathlete. And that's when he was the first person to really put the idea of doing biathlon into my head. But more than that, he was the first coach that really believed in me. He saw the talent that I had, and his belief in me is, I think, what ultimately spurred my own belief in myself to really reach that highest level. And so, yeah, I think I just kept walking through the next door that was in front of me, not really thinking about how to get through the next one, because a lot of times it was just like more survival mode, trying to make sure that I could make that. I didn't miss the train at the station, so to say. And so just kept going forward and forward and forward until ultimately getting there. And as you said, it definitely was a difficult task and something that I didn't really think it was going to be possible many times, but ultimately made it in 2022.
You know, like an iceberg, the performance that people see the athletes do on the Olympic stage is really just a small visible part of the whole much larger volume of work and that needs to go on and to get you to that point, i.e. the training that you do. Would you walk listeners through the training experience and what type of commitment it requires to get to the level of the Olympic competition?
I would just start this with like the statement that, each Olympic sport and each Olympian is going to have a very different story of how they got to the sport. And biathlon is a very unique one because it's based in Europe mostly. And so as an American, it can be really difficult to navigate sometimes. But it also is combining both the sports of shooting and cross-country skiing. So you have to really work on your ability to shoot well, concentrate well, calm yourself down in the midst of high-pressure situations. While all the cross-country skiing component, you really have to dial in your endurance and your power and your max VO2 efforts to be able to ski fast. Every year we train anywhere from 700 to 850, 900 hours total. Each week that breaks down to about 25 hours of physical training. On top of that, you might be doing a couple hours of just shooting specific training. And then every day you're kind of sprinkling in some physio work or stretching, foam rolling, body work, making sure that you're maintaining your body and its health so that you can do all of that training. So a typical day, you wake up, have a quick breakfast, head to the range somewhere where you might have, like the Ariens Nordic Center, where you have the ability to cross-country ski on roller skis and shoot. You might be doing combo sessions where you're skiing and then shooting all in the same one. And that practice is probably going to last about 3.5 hours. Head back, get some lunch, and then you might, in the afternoon, take a nap, chill out, try to get in that recovery, which is really important because, as I said, you want to make sure you have the ability to do those workouts. Maybe you get a massage if you're in a camp or at a training center or have access to that. And then in the afternoon, you're heading out and you're doing your second workout, which might be roller skiing again, running, biking, weightlifting, combination of those things. Probably 2.5 hours, come back, have dinner, chill out, catch up on some other work, and then go to bed and wake up and do it all over again.
It's a pretty arduous schedule.
Yeah, but it's something that
doesn't leave much time for the rest of your life, though, does it?
At times, no, it can be pretty busy. So when I'm in training camps, I'm in training camp mode, and so it's really nice because traveling with the team, they help take care of a lot of those other details that might take up a lot more time. And so it's kind of weird. Like the best scenario for an athlete is basically you put 100% of your energy and your day and your effort and your focus into the workouts, because that way you're getting the most out of each workout as you can. And then in between workouts, you're trying to minimize stress and effort and energy expenditure as much as you can. You want to make sure you're in an environment where you can feel relaxed and comfortable. You're not spending a lot of time cooking food, all these different things. And so it can definitely be stressful at times, but it can also be a really cool environment to be a part of. Really cool to have a team that I'm really excited to be with, to travel with, and you see a lot of cool places. But yeah, definitely once you get to the end of that training block, you're getting pretty tired and you're ready for a break.
Well, you mentioned earlier the Ariens Nordic Center. For listeners, that's the US Biathlon's training facility located here in Burlington, Wisconsin. Why is it so important to have a facility like Ariens Nordic Center in the area, and what's its impact on the sport?
Man, the Ariens Nordic Center is one of the coolest things because historically, Northeast Wisconsin is not a place where cross-country skiing has been very accessible. And so what Ariens Nordic Center is doing is it's giving people the opportunity to go experience Nordic skiing at a really high level in a way that can be super enjoyable, and also give a lot of opportunity to younger athletes that are looking to, they maybe have their sights set on bigger stages, being able to travel and make international teams. So that's what's really cool about it. But it also is it has a roller loop, so you can be able to go roller ski without other cars and traffic. There also is a full 20-point shooting range, which allows people to be able to shoot and train well for biathlon. And so it's just a really cool facility in a place that gives people a lot of opportunity, and also an opportunity for people in the area to really connect with the US Biathlon Team as well.
From your perspective, having been born and raised in the area here, Paul, what is it like and how does it make you feel to have that facility here in your hometown?
I remember when I first heard that Ariens was putting in a facility, and I was a bit shocked, but when I actually saw the facility, I still was in awe and shock, but was also just kind of like really humbled by it, because Ariens had the ability to do something that I could only have dreamed of, and to see it come to life has been really cool. But it's also really motivating for me, motivating to grow the sport, to try to increase the awareness, and to really show people in the area what's available there, what's right outside their door, and the huge opportunities that sport can lead to. Not just biathlon, but also cross country skiing. More than that, what's really cool is in the Nordic ski community in the Midwest now, I've had a lot of people come up to me and talk about how great the Ariens Nordic Center is and how much they've enjoyed coming to Northeast Wisconsin. And so to hear people coming to my hometown and enjoying the sport that I love is really, really cool, because I think it allows people to come to Northeast Wisconsin that maybe would not typically come to that area of the state, and just really experience the really, really great qualities that that part of the state has.
And back in 2023, you had a knee injury and knee surgery. And how does that experience affect a world-class athlete, and how do you overcome it?
So I've had a few knee surgeries now, all from the same nagging knee injury. But setbacks are definitely something that every athlete experiences. For me, I've had definitely my fair share of setbacks, but each one is a real opportunity to learn and grow. And they're always so frustrating in the moment, because all you want to do is be healthy. And I think that they can be a real blessing sometimes, because they really make you slow down, reevaluate, and really give you a fresh perspective, but also a heart of gratitude, because when you get back to it, it's just like, man, it's so great to be healthy. I remember I had a knee surgery and my teammate unfortunately had a surgery at the same time. And I remember we both, about a month and a half after our surgeries, were hanging out together. And I can't remember if it was me to him or him to me, but it was just like, man, Jake, you know what's awesome? Walking. Just being able to walk is awesome. And so I think it's just like that perspective of like, wow, just even the simple pleasures in life of like just being able to simply walk down a sidewalk while the sun's going down is such a gift. And I think injuries do that. But I think they also they create some mental toughness and have you work on yourself in ways that you wouldn't have otherwise. And ultimately that just kind of helps build up your character and perseverance as an athlete, and ultimately help you reach the goal.
How long did it take you to feel like you were completely comfortable in training and back to the point you wanted to be competitively?
Oh man, I don't know if you ever really quite reach that point where you're like, I'm 100% there or whatever. But I mean, I had a lot of ups and downs. I had my first knee surgery in 2019, 2023 with my second surgery. I actually re-injured it in November during the team pre-camp in Finland, and then came home, had a second surgery to repair the damage that was done in November. And that took me probably about 4 or 5 months to just start feeling more normal again, and then training back in. So, I mean, it probably took about a year and a half when it was all said and done with the multiple ups and downs. And that was just the one surgery in 2023, amongst other setbacks. So, I mean, it definitely took a little while, but yeah, just thankful to be back. Hopefully now, hopefully don't have too many more huge bumps in the road, but at the same time, prepared and ready for them when they do come.
Now, you said you're in Italy right now. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Can you give listeners an idea what a typical day in Italy is right now for you?
So kind of pretty similar to that training program that I talked about earlier. We're actually in Antolz, Italy, which is where the biathlon events are going to be for the 2026 Olympic Games. This morning, went to the range, skied for about 3 hours, did some shooting with that as well. Went back, had quick lunch, took a quick nap, and then I ended up biking down to the cafe to get some internet. It's because Antolz is a pretty small mountain village, so there's not a whole lot of internet here, which can be great as well. Just kind of feel like you're stepping back in time a little bit when you're over here. And so bike down to the cafe, having a quick little cake and coffee, recording the podcast, and then I'll hop on my bike after we're done here, and I'll go ride for about 2.5, 3 hours before dinner.
And now, being a member of the US Biathlon Team, can you maybe walk listeners through that structure and what your role in the team is?
Yeah, so the national team consists of about, right now we have 4 guys and on the national A team, me and 3 others. And then we have 3 or 4 guys on the B team. And we all train together at the training camps. And that qualification happens through results from the past season, and sometimes discretion as well. As one of our athletes, he got sick for a good part of the season this year and wasn't able to race, but still was discretioned onto the team based off of historical results and the like. And so we, as members of the US Biathlon Team, then have access to these training camps where we have coaches traveling with us. They help us with, they organize all the housing, the food, and all the other training logistics while we're in these training camps. And then when we are not in training camps right now, I spend a fair amount of time in Lake Placid at the Olympic Training Center. I have a resident room there, and I can access all of the athlete services that they have there, including physical therapy, massage, food in the training facilities. And then outside of that, I'll spend some time as well at the Ariens Nordic Center throughout the year, just getting some training when I'm back in the area. And then throughout the year, we have, 4 or 5 national team training camps starting in the month of May. May 1st is kind of the unofficial start of the training year. April is our 1 month off every year. Our season concludes at the end of March, so you get April to do whatever you want. If that means you're getting out and trying to find some snow to ski on, or you're hitting the beach, or in my case, I'd like to go out turkey hunting or meet up with family. You can go out and kind of do what you need to do. And then once May 1st hits, it's kind of like, all right, hit the ground running. And then you're training all the way through the year and preparing for the race season yet again.
The February 2026 Milano Cortina Olympic Games are fast approaching. We mentioned before, 210 days away. How are you preparing for these games as compared to the 22 Beijing Olympic Games?
I mean, in a lot of ways, very similarly. The training day to day is not drastically different. I would say the big differences are I'm a little bit older athlete, a little mature, know a little bit more what to expect, but also taking the lessons that I've learned in the past 4 years and really starting to apply them to my training now. One thing that is different is the fact that I'm in Italy and training at the facility where the games are going to be happening. Did not have the opportunity to go to China and race on that race course prior to the Olympic Games. So that is one thing that is different. But yeah, I'd say for the most part, just really kind of pretty similar training approach, staying focused on the process, doing everything I can to become a better athlete every single day, and knowing that if I put myself in the best position, I'm going to be giving myself the best shot at being at the Olympics and having my best races there. And so just really kind of keep staying focused on the things that I can't control and letting everything else figure itself out.
You know, with the calendar for the Olympics being every 4 years, the longevity of your career is kind of a little different than a lot of other major sports are. How does that affect or impact your thinking as you plan forward your career and as you continue to go forward? And maybe it gives you an idea how many more years you plan on trying to compete at the Olympic level? And maybe do you have thoughts like that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after the 2022 games, I thought I would maybe go 2 more years and then be done competing. I was actually on another podcast right after the Beijing Olympics, and I remember the host saying to me, like, man, I feel like you got to go for it. I feel like the story's just getting started. And that's where I really started to maybe consider going another 4 years. Now being here 4 years later, really trying to make a bid at the 2026 games. I really do feel like this is probably going to be my last year competing. I've enjoyed biathlon immensely. It's given me opportunities that I never thought I would have. It's taken me to places and had me see things that I could only dream of. And if I went back and told my 14, 15-year-old self the things that I would have been able to do, I think I would not have quite believed me. But yeah, I think my time time in sport is coming to an end as an athlete, and really just excited for the next things in life. One thing that being an athlete has showed me is that there's a lot more to life than sport. I think we glorify sports a lot, but ultimately I think that some of the most joy that we have in life come in some of the most simple things in life. And I think it's Brene Brown who said that, where we're constantly trying to find joy and meaning in the extraordinary things, and we find some of the most profound joy in our life in the most ordinary of things. And I'm just really ready for that next step in life. Not quite sure exactly what that looks like yet, but excited for whatever it is.
Have you thought of maybe sticking around the game as far as maybe coaching and working with younger athletes?
Yeah, I've definitely am passionate about the sport. I don't know if I would do it full time. I definitely am considering coming back to Ariens Nordic Center and trying to work with more kids in the area. I don't think I would want coaching to be my full-time gig. I have a lot of other things in life that I'm passionate about. And so as a result, I probably would see coaching more as the thing that I do on a more voluntary sort of basis, not so much as a full-time gig. My mom and my dad were very involved in the Appleton Soccer Club, helping organize and being an administrator within the soccer club and helping kind of grow the sport of soccer in Northeast Wisconsin while I was growing up, and being a referee in soccer and wrestling and helping out a lot of those clubs with odd jobs as they needed them. I kind of see myself kind of carrying on that legacy, and it's in a different light, have modeled in my parents, and kind of feel like I could carry on that legacy myself in the sport that I'm really passionate about now.
So if you were to talk to a younger athlete who is kind of feeling frustrated because they just don't feel they're making enough progress, what advice would you give them?
Man, you never know when you're going to have that breakthrough. At Kimberly High School, we always had this saying, water it. And it really talked about bamboo and how bamboo roots, they have this incredible root system, and they're constantly growing and growing and growing underneath the surface for a long, long time. And sometimes you don't see any sort of progress above the surface. But once that root system is established, they then have the ability to grow really fast. And then when bamboo, it has the ability sometimes to grow up to 6 feet in a day. But you have to continue to water that system to allow it to be able to build that foundation and that structure underneath the ground to be able to handle that really fast and rapid growth. And I think that that's exactly what happens in athletics. A lot of times you never quite know when you're going to get that breakthrough. You never know when it's going to be your day. And so if you keep showing up day in and day out, just trying to become a better athlete, not focusing on the results, but focusing on the process and helping build that foundation that you know is going to create success in the future, you just got to keep trusting in it and moving forward, because there's one way for sure not to see that success, and that's by giving up early.
I appreciate the thoughts there, Paul, and thank you for being my guest today on the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. We wish you well and all the best in the upcoming Olympic cycle, and to you and to Team USA as you compete. We know that you'll make us all proud here back in Northeast Wisconsin. So thank you for all what you're doing over there.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was great talking with you.
And listeners, thank you for tuning in to episode number 56. Please make sure you check out the other 55 episodes of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast by clicking on the microphone on the homepage of travelcalumet.com. And if you liked what you heard today or on previous episodes, please help us spread the word by inviting a couple of friends to listen to the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. Help us share the news of all the great things to see and do here in Calumet County, like Ariens Nordic Center. Thank you for listening, and until next time.